All right, so we are here in the shop with the C63s. Last time in our outing when we went to the track, we ran out of brakes basically. Like 3 laps in, the brake fluid started to boil and overheat, and we were also getting it's like a shuddering from the brake pedal, or juddering it's called, meaning that the brake pads were starting to overheat and get hot. Nothing like was smoking or smelling like burn or anything like that, but we were on the very edge of the brake system for this particular car. So we went back to the drawing board and trying to figure out, definitely need to do better brake fluid improvement for like racing brake fluid. And also we were looking into brake pad options, and we reached out to EBC Brakes, and they decided to sponsor us and send us some pads for us to test at this at our next track event, which is in Sebring. So we have um, the RPX brake pads for the front. We're going to be installing those. And then they don't have an RPX for the rear on this application, but they send us a set of the blue stuff for the rear, which is good. You want something more aggressive in the front of the car, and then something slightly with less bite towards the rear, so you can have a nice and stable braking application. So we're going to be installing those pads. We're also going to do a brake fluid flush. We're going to be using the Motul RBF 600. We're going to be doing this brake fluid right here, which is a racing brake fluid, and it has a higher boiling point. And we're going to show you the RPX pads. These are the EBC RPX pads for this application, and let me tell you, they are massive. Like, they're pretty stout. The backing plate of it, it's like a solid piece of metal basically, and it's all like a shiny metal. Look at the thickness of that, and they feel and look pretty solid. So I'm hoping to get good results. There's some mixed reviews out there, but I know that these pads will definitely improve, and we just want to put them to the test. There's not a lot of pads that are being tested for this application in our car, but we want to put this on. EBC brakes for track use only, made in the UK. This is the RPX compound, and then for the rear we're gonna install the blue stuff. A little bit more streetable, but they're also for like track days. They're not a full race pad, but this is gonna go on the back, and we're gonna be removing all like the brake sensors, the brake wear sensors, so that they don't start to melt or get any type of high temperature on them. So we're gonna remove the brake wear sensors. Now we're just gonna monitor brakes like the old days, make sure the pads are good and there's enough pad material left. And we're gonna reuse the factory rotors. We're gonna flush the brake lines. All right, so this side is done already. I removed the sensors and the connector that goes for the pad, and I zip tied it away from the caliper itself. Clean the spring where the pad rides. No grease, because I don't have like racing grease, and I don't want it to kind of like catch fire with temperature. The grease I normally use for like noise and to avoid any type of like brake noise. It's for like normal street driving. It's rated 250 degrees Fahrenheit max temp. So I just put everything dry, no grease. At this point, we're looking for performance. We're not looking for compliance or comfort with the braking system. So no grease, everything dry. Just make sure that the spring tensioners here where the pads sit on, it's clean. I clean all the gunk out of it. So it's a nice smooth. So now we're gonna go do the other side. All right, got this side front done. Pretty smooth. The pads actually fit very good so far. Um, Everything went smooth. Just clean the grease out and also move the wear sensor away from the caliper and the pads, so there's no heat or any melting issue. I zip tied it to the back to another harness to sound out of the way. We're gonna do the last side in the front, and then we're gonna do the brake fluid flush. But so far everything seems good. The fitment has been great, and the pads, they're looking good. All right, so we're gonna start with the brake fluid flush now. I already pushed all the pistons in with the cylinders, and also with the vacuum suction all the brake fluid that was on the reservoir, just to get as much out of it as we can. Let's see what color this brake fluid is. It's pretty clear. I'm gonna fill this up all the way to the rim. These bottles are expensive. They're like list price. It's like $40 a bottle, and it's only half a liter, 500 milliliters. So cannot waste it. All right, so that's full. I think I want to take the screen off so that the pump seals nice and well. And this brake fluid's it's pretty standard color. Thought it was gonna be like different color or more bluish, but it's not. All right, let's prep the pump. All right, got the pump ready. I'm gonna attach it now to the master cylinder. I don't know if you know, but if you guys know, but brake fluid eats through paint, like it will eat the paint away. So you always have to be extremely careful not to have brake fluid touch the paint on the vehicle. So it will destroy it. It's a universal pump that I came up with, this attachment. So it basically works on all cars. It's got a clamp system that pressurizes and it stays on there. Then pump it up like 10 psi. Sure there's no leaks. All right, so we just wrapped up the brake job on the Mercedes. The initial feel on the street as we were bedding in the pads, it was very nice and grabby. No crazy noisy, but it is a little bit noisy, especially when you're driving like stop and go traffic. So we're excited for our next track day coming up this week. And we're gonna give you some more updates of how it feels on track and also on the street. Once again, thank you to ABC Brakes for sponsoring us for this project, and we're looking forward for the next event. Cheers.